So, got loads and loads of lovely comments from everybody. I just found this little area to walk in, it's like field. Got loads of lovely comments on the channel. I noticed that a few of you are suffering from Parkinson's, and I think it's quite a tough thing to deal with. I did meet someone once when I was at the summer school for uni. He was studying psychology same time as me, and I noticed him having a shaky arm. I'm never afraid to ask, because I think everybody's the same no matter what disability. You can't find out what someone is until you've talked to them. So I asked him, I said, your arm shakes a lot, how do you write with that? And he said, oh yeah, he said, I have Parkinson's. He said, what I do is I write with the other hand. I've learnt to write left-handed. And we were having a laugh about his arm, because it was sort of going everywhere, back and behind his head and stuff. So, he'd obviously got used to it and he was living with it, and he just found the humour in it, and it was great. Obviously an older guy, same age as me, because we were like the Open University studying. So he was lovely. But that was the only time I met him. I didn't sort of meet him again after that. It was just at a dining room table once. So that was interesting. And I thought to myself then, that's quite a hard thing to go out with, never mind deal with. In the sort of light place that we were, in the dining room of a university, nobody's going to stop and stare. Far too well mannered for that sort of thing. Now I head back by the road as well. So I was just thinking, and this is going back, I don't know, 25 years or so. And people were still ignorant about disability. So when they saw someone with a disability, they sort of avoided them, didn't they? Across the street. It was funny in the old days. Do you remember when people were in wheelchairs and whoever was pushing them, you never spoke to the person in the wheelchair, you just assumed that they were disabled. So you spoke to the carer. Lovely day, isn't it? And you never sort of spoke to that person in the wheelchair who was perfectly fine, apart from they could walk for whatever reason. That's changed a lot now, so that's really good, because it's really, really tough for people who are in wheelchairs. And you see a lot of people are very independent now, aren't they? They can get their cars that they can drive, get in and out of their wheelchair and get in the car and put the wheelchair in the boot. Just amazing. And not just the physical side of that, which is amazing on its own, but also the mental side of that. And this is where I kick myself for harping on about mental health. Because the mental strength you need to go out on your own with your wheelchair and get in and out of car, or go down the pavement, or however you do it, takes an awful lot of mental strength. You have to deal with the ignorance and people staring and people offering help, and you don't want to be rude, but you say, no, I'm fine. And nowadays people, I think maybe they're going the other way. Maybe they realise that they shouldn't stick their nose in. If someone wants help, they'll ask for it. Seen a few disabled people get on and off buses. We have the buses now that go right down, don't they, so they can wheel their wheelchair on. They're coming on their own on the bus and they're getting off. And their mental attitude is, I'm just not going to look at you, I'm just going to get on this bus, park up, get off. If you want to stare at me, well, I'm not going to be looking at you. And you can see the strength in their face as they get on with that. Because a lot of people have to do it on their own. You know, we've not all got family that we can go out with and have support. And I just think they're incredibly tough and incredibly brave. And I consider myself tough. But could I do that? I honestly don't think so. I think I'm quite glad that I just have a mental inner health issue that I can keep to myself, hidden away, that people can't see. And so I look perfectly normal, and with that I can go out into the big wide world and, you know, be perfectly normal, and nobody is going to stare at me. But to go out with you, there's a lot of ex-army now, aren't there, that have lost legs, and they've got these great bionic legs now, haven't they? And they don't bother to wear trousers. In the summer they'll put the shorts on and show the metal, and they don't care. And I think, you know, that takes an awful lot of mental strength, and kudos. So I am grateful for what I have got. So yeah, I am extremely grateful for for you guys reminding me, putting stuff on the comments about your struggles and how you're coping with it. And I know some of you are lonely, and I'm really, really sorry. For me, I do not ever get lonely. I get a little bit down at Christmas because it's a tough time. I also don't like bank holidays because everybody's out and I can't go out because I'm just a single person out. But I've done that this weekend, but I've chosen areas to walk where no one is about. But yeah, these reminders are all what we all need, to remind us that whatever you're suffering with is someone far, not worse off, but dealing with something much more than what you've got to deal with. You get people like Andrew Marr come back onto the TV straight after having a stroke. And yeah, he's lost the use of his hand, I think, a bit. But apart from that, you know, he's just getting on with it. And you need people like that to come out and do these things to remind us that, you know, things happen, but it doesn't turn you into a vegetable. It just turns you into someone who has to deal with a new perspective, a new way of life. So for you guys that are on your own, suffering with Parkinson's or whatever, disability, horrible word that, but you know what I mean, whatever you're struggling with, you know, I hope the channel helps you a little bit to know that there are lots and lots of people out there going through the same thing. So I do feel, I'm not going to say feel sorry for you, but I am sorry that you feel alone. You know, we're all here. For those of you in work, there's one person who commented, and I think you were a bit sad that your colleagues were, you know, not very understanding or not very nice to you. And I need to remind you all that your colleagues are not your friends. Doesn't matter how much you chatter or natter or have a laugh or a giggle or find something that you both find funny or like or do. At the end of the day, you don't know them well enough to rely on them or to tell them your personal stuff. Just don't do it. I've done it so many times because I have trusted everybody in my life. As soon as I've met someone, I've told them my whole life story. You know, I'm not afraid to tell you because I just think you're a good person and you'll understand, but people don't. They do two different things, I think. They either say they're very sorry for you and are very sweet and nice and then go and gossip behind your back. Or if you tell them something that you've done that you're really happy about, then they're very jealous and again they're off to gossip about you behind your back, and before you know, something's built up into another story and you're wondering why people are a bit funny with you. So I think what I do now is I have a second persona. I had until I stopped working, a persona that went into work and laughed and giggled and chatted, and everybody thought I was, you know, a gay, happy little girl. What's to chat about? You know, they were gossiping about me. They'd probably say, oh, yeah, she's a bit funny, but you know, she's alright. And that'll do me. Don't tell them anything about any struggles, just people are not nice. And you would not believe, just by looking at them, I can't find anywhere to walk around in. You would not believe just by looking at them just how totally ignorant they can be. And the longer the person's been there, and this is particularly in the council, some of them have been there 40 years. And when I was throwing my strops at this last job, and this lovely guy, he's been there, you know, nearly 40 years himself, he just said to me, he said, when you work here, just keep your head down. You know, you're getting paid well. You really don't want any issues. Keep your head down, just get on with your job and go home at the end of the day. I still couldn't stick to that. So, you know, that was my fault. Headstrong or whatever. So, just colleagues are colleagues. If after you've left where you've worked and a colleague has become a friend and you're friends, that's fine. But at the start or through it all, no matter how well you get on with someone, you have no idea when they're going to turn, how they're going to be, and I can't find my walkway back. I'm lost. Yeah, you don't know how they're going to be. So do not let them get to you. Okay, I've got to try and find my way out of here. I've got completely lost somehow. It's a little path. Is that a path there? Go follow this for a minute. So it's really great knowing what people are feeling and thinking and how they're coping. It's really great to hear from you on the site, you know, commenting and telling me about all of this, because it makes me think, and then I think of, you know, struggles that I've been through, and you know, I put my pennyworth in, and we all put our pennyworth in, and hopefully people will either get ideas from this, or they'll just understand that other people are going through the same thing, and know you're not on your own. You know, you're not alone. You're not alone. You hear about that alien spaceship or something that turned 20 military men to stone. It's just a new thing that's hanging about the internet at the moment. Happened about, I don't know, 20 years ago or something, but you know, you are not alone. I'm sure we probably aren't. It's a big universe. Anyway, that's my chat for this bank holiday weekend. Please leave lots of comments and things that you want to discuss. This has been really helpful. I've just looked through so much stuff, and there's probably stuff I've forgotten about. I meant to make a note of things that people have said. I've made a note, but I thought I'd got to bring it out with me. So I made all these notes this morning when I was going through all the comments, thinking, oh yeah, I want to chat about that and chat about that. So if I've missed anything out, I'll have another look when I get back, and you know, have some more chats. But in the meantime, get back to me with your thoughts, opinions, needs and desires. I haven't got a genie. Wave me with a magic wand and hope for the best. And yeah, I will catch you soon. Take care.